His was the only boat to arrive.
I think maybe it was a cow. I don't know.
There's the thank you letter from Lyndon Johnson.
There was even a monorail at one point to the east of us.
Plus, everybody forgets about pirates.
This is the coolest field trip I have ever been on.
I don't know, but I've been told, keep on dancing, won't ever get old.
Hello and welcome to the Long Island History Project, the podcast that brings you stories and interviews with people passionate about Long Island history. You can hear them all at longislandhistoryproject.org. My name is Chris Kretz, and I am your host. And our opening music is courtesy of the Homegrown String Band. Today we come to celebrate the Culper Spy Ring. It's a group of people, it's a moment in time, it's a source of study and fascination, and it has developed into one of the defining and most recognizable topics in Long Island history. It moved from forgotten secret to family story to folklore to fact to fiction and back again. You might know it from historic markers on the side of the road or AMC's Turn or any of the growing number of books that have tackled the subject. But it is a story that is here to stay, and it inspires passion in just about everyone who learns about it. And nowhere is that more evident than in the annual celebration of Culper Spy Day on the North Shore of Long Island. It's an event I know has been going on for a while. I just finally got up the gumption to head out and visit it myself. So this episode is sort of impressionistic. It's a whirlwind tour of one Culper Spy Day as seen by one man, me. So I took in as many of the sites as I could. What you're going to hear is a mix, a mashup. We'll be jumping from place to place. You'll be hearing a lot of old friends, some new friends. It's an historical cacophony of sights, sounds, strong opinions, and a lot of love for the Culper Spy Ring. So get ready to relive a very special day with some very special guests. We're here with Bev Tyler. Bev, what's your official title, or what?
I'm historian for the Three Village Historical Society.
Okay. Can you explain your attire for those that can't see this?
Well, I'm dressed as Abraham Woodhull, which I portray in many talks to schools and to organizations.
Let me just, so we're at Culper Spy Day. Do you know what number this is? How many?
This is 11th.
Oh, wow, okay. How and I'm sure you've seen them all. How have you seen it change?
Well, it's gotten bigger and bigger. The great thing is that we're getting more different groups from all over Long Island now. As far west as Oyster Bay, as far east as the boundary of Brookhaven, the Ketchum Inn in Santa Maritza.
But it feels like it is also a great almost celebration or teachable moment about the American Revolution on Long Island. What would you want people to know? What do you think people don't realize about what it was like here during the Revolution?
Well, the fact is that the British were in control of Long Island for the whole 7 years of the Revolutionary War after they won the Battle of Long Island in Brooklyn. And people like Abraham Woodhull stayed here, portraying himself as a loyalist, but working as a spy. It was a very difficult thing. He was very nervous most of the time, but he did his job. He did exactly what needed to be done. He went back and forth to New York many, many, many times to gather information. And then when he got a new spy in New York that was permanently there, he was still had to go back and forth to bring him some of the invisible ink and money because of his expenses, things like that. So it was a difficult thing, and he had to portray himself as a loyalist, and he had to say that he was doing his job, and it's scary.
Okay, I just hear they called the flag raising, so I'll let you go. Thank you for speaking with us. Have a great day.
Okay, you too.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome. My name is Margo Arceri. I'm the founder of Spy Tours. Yay! And Culper Spy Day. Welcome to Culper Country. Yes.
Okay, so again, we're trying to capture the vibe of the day, and we are going straight to the top. We are talking with
Greg Phillips, board president. This is our 11th annual Culper Spy Day, and I think it's been bigger and better so far than I've seen in the past. We're all about people learning history and keeping history alive. To my left right here is Scott, our curator. We're trying to preserve history in Three Village. That's what we're about. We're looking to make these days bigger and better. We expanded it this year, and we're looking for the 250th anniversary next year, which is going to be even bigger and better.
As you say, it's expanding, so are you getting sort of more diverse groups coming in to help tell the story?
Yeah, I think we're getting diverse groups, but we're probably touching more groups. For example, 2 years ago, I think we had maybe 600 students come through, and we did an education piece for the students. That number, I think, this year was almost 1,400 or 1,500. So we've almost tripled in size in terms of the education. So we're getting to the students so that they can learn the history of the area and what the Revolutionary War is about. We're probably the predominant group in the area that works with all the other groups. There's some 25 groups in the area that are nonprofits, but I think, personally, maybe I'm a little biased, but we work with them all and try to keep the history going. So,
But what's your favorite fun fact or most interesting thing you've uncovered about the Culper Ring? Everyone seems to have their guy or their person. So I don't know, what's your favorite fact about the Culper Ring?
Ask him his favorite fact.
All right, Scott, we're going to pull you in. Scott Ferrara, curator. What's your favorite part of the Culper story? Historical fact or figure?
That's a really tough question. The first thing that's on the top of my mind right now is some newly developing history, or recently published history, I should say. Right now we have a exhibit that opens up tomorrow on the Rowe Tavern, which was the home of Captain Austin Rowe. He was a courier for the Culper Spy Ring that traveled 100 miles round trip from the city to here to deliver, secret messages and military intelligence. And Mark Sternberg, who's at the Drowned Meadow Cottage Museum, recently uncovered that the Rowe Tavern was likely never actually a tavern, and that is a bit of a folklore that developed over the years.
It's interesting because this story is ripe with myths and folklore and maybe half-truths and things. So how do you balance trying to tell people the real story without maybe puncturing their misconceptions or having them jettison some favored stories that they might cherish?
Yeah, well, that I think goes into the heart of the field of history and heritage itself, because history is always changing, and there's facts and things that happen, but the way we remember history changes, and what we value and what we prioritize often changes. So these myths and folklores, it kind of opens the door for people's interest to come and visit and learn what really transpired and some of the facts, see the actual artifacts, see the actual documents from that time period, and learn more about, I guess, the events that made this all possible and helped us win the war.
Right. So we're just into barely hour one. How do you hold up through the day? Is it tough? What's your secret of keeping your pace?
I'm going to go visit some of the other sites, which are going to be interesting. That gets exciting. Some water bottles, and it's just an exciting day to see everybody and have people come up to us and say, "Great job." That's why we do what we do, and it's all volunteers are just exceptional here, and that's what makes it easier to do.
Great. Okay, so we have an honored guest here. We are speaking with
General George Washington.
And how goes the day?
The day is going very well. A lot of good things are happening with unmentionable spy ring. Well, not mention it because we do have some redcoats here at this event, and I'm trying to ignore them. But the day is going very well.
If we let the mask slip a little, do you want to say anything about your preparation for your role here, or be interested to know how you got into this?
Okay, well, that's a simple one. I got started being interested in colonial American history when I was 7 years old, growing up in Brooklyn. My first field trip with the Cub Scouts, we went to Valley Forge at Independence Hall. Then many, many years later, back in, I guess it was 1997, I decided to start portraying General George Washington. So the uniform I have on now as a uniform that I actually created myself. I'm actually a tailor. I make my own clothing, and it's copied off of a painting of Washington that used to sit in the Congress. It's a very familiar painting. It's actually at the Brooklyn Museum today. But I do enjoy portraying Washington. My wife occasionally comes out with me as Lady Washington. The whole family actually is involved, including my son. He shows up as one of my lifeguards because he's too young to be Washington's stepson. But Washington, I find, is one of the most interesting founding fathers. And to prepare for this takes a lot of work, a lot of reading. So to date, I probably have read about 12 different biographies. My favorite one is by Ron Chernow, Washington A Life.
Great. I know you have an audience here, so
Yes,
I'll
I
let you
do.
go. But thank you for your service, and it's great talking to you, and thanks for being part of this day.
It was my pleasure.
So we're going down Author's Row, and we are speaking with...
Hi, I'm Sarah Beth Durst.
And so, Sarah, I see Spy Ring as the title. Tell us about the book and how you got connected to the Culper Spy story.
Well, I am an author that lives about 2 miles away from where everything happens. I've been writing for a long time. I have 30 books out, New York Times bestselling author. And I was walking around with my son playing Pokemon Go, and I started reading all the historical markers in the area. And I said to myself, a story happened here. Someone should write this. And then a little while later, I'm like, wait, I should tell this story. I'm a writer. And so that's what I did. I wrote a kid's book called Spy Ring, and it is about kids who live in Setauket who go on a treasure hunt adventure and uncover the history that happened all around them. And that history is alive, and it's a puzzle that we're constantly putting together and constantly rewriting as we discover untold stories.
So just from the historical part, as you uncovered it for yourself, what was the biggest revelation to you, the thing you didn't know or that surprised you the most?
I didn't know that the culpers were never caught. They were amazingly efficient and effective, and I think it's beautiful that ordinary people set about to do something extraordinary that they believed in and didn't tell a soul.
So again, we're walking down Author's Row, and we're talking now with...
Peggy Wergo.
And Peggy, this is a brand new book, right? Just came out?
Yes, it's being released in October.
Okay, and the title, and tell us the story of the book.
The title is To Outwit Them All, and it's based on the true story of 355, who was the only female member of the Culper Spy Ring in New York City during the Revolution.
Were you aware of the story as just a historical author, or did you discover it at some point and have to dig deeper?
Well, I discovered 355 when I was looking at a list of influential women in American history. And there were all these names, and then there was a number, 355. And that's because we don't know what her name was. To this day, she's still unknown. But I had to know more about her, and I started to research the Culper Ring and figure out possibly who she was and wrote her story.
So my name is Mark Sternberg. I'm the Culper Spy Ring historian for the Drowned Meadow Cottage Museum. Currently here at Three Village, though, for the next hour before I head down to the cottage, just to show, as part of the author's table here, to talk about my new article. My research has uncovered that Austin Rowe, he didn't seem to own a tavern. He was actually a joiner or a woodworker. And so you can actually check that out in the Journal of the American Revolution, learn a little bit more about it, and I kind of go through some of the primary sources that talk about it.
And as you talk to people, it's open to the public, so people coming from everywhere. What seems to resonate with them? What do you think what do you see fascinate them the most?
People just care deeply about the founding of our history of this country, and this is just such a unique story. Civilians, coming together, gathering intelligence for Washington, and just local people, not military trained or lightly military trained in case Cecilia Strong. And it's an exciting story. People love espionage, and it's espionage mixed with like that hometown charm. So, it's not only a beautiful day to learn about America's history of our founding, but it's also a beautiful day to visit Setauket, Port Jeffa, and the North Shore of Long Island.
Okay, so we are talking with
Christina Rajewski. I am a 5-time author. This is my 4th book and my 2nd year here at the annual Culper Spy Day. I came 2 years ago as a visitor and I fell in love, and I asked when my book was published if I could come back as an author, and I got the answer yes.
So what's the plot of your book? How would you describe it? How would you describe your book?
It's a historical fiction novel about Anna Strong, one of the Culper spies, and her contributions to the Culper Spy Ring and to the American Revolution and George Washington as a whole. And it's extremely historically accurate and very thoroughly researched to write this book. But there are some fictional elements in addition to making it a historical fiction novel.
Great. And just give us the name of the book so we can...
Marriage or Espionage, Read Between the Lines.
Nice title. Thank you very much. Hey, guys. Oh, Rich, you were one of the people I've interviewed before.
I believe you have. Nice to see you.
So so we're talking, you're on Author's Row. So what's your connection to the event? Why did you feel it was important to be here?
Well, I wanted to be here because it is celebrating, key events in American history. Particularly, obviously, dealing with the Culper Ring, and I got an interest in that because I have a deep interest in Benjamin Tallmadge, and I did write a biography of him, which is here. But I also brought some other books, which I thought people might be interested in. But I'd like to see communities, and particularly mixed populations, especially age-wise, getting some interest in, what happened. And I think if they get interested in the way things are locally, they can then transfer that to a larger, scene.
And if you just want to give me your first name, but we're talking with
John.
We're online for the trolley here. What brings you to Culper Spy Day?
Well, it all started by watching the movie, to tell you the truth. And
the TV show.
Right, and I must have seen it at least 3 times, at least. And then we all like the Revolutionary War history and all that stuff. Big fans of it. So a friend of ours, Marie, she suggested, why don't we go out there? They have this special occasion. So that's a great idea, and so far so good. It's awesome.
What's the best thing you've seen so far?
Best thing, everything is interesting from the invisible ink to the muskets and to the cannon firing to the just everything. We're still in that through.
You don't have to reveal this if you don't want, but I heard it was also a special occasion for you.
Yes, it happens to be our 50th wedding anniversary, so it's all special. The weather's great, people are great event, and I know it will probably be bigger every year. So let's keep going. It's awesome.
We'll see you at your 60th. We'll meet back here.
Thank you. Sure. Why not?
So we're at the Patriot Rock stop of the tour, and I'm talking with
Herb Monis. I'm with the Three Village Community Trust.
And what's the significance of this site that you're showing today?
The Patriots Rock is the site of the Battle of Setauket in 1777. It was at this location that Patriots sailed to Crane's Neck from Connecticut in order to attack a garrison that was just up the street from here in the Presbyterian Church. So about 250 to 300 Patriots arrived at this property and then began to engage a similar number of loyal soldiers that had encamped and fortified the Presbyterian Church for their defense. So that battle in August raged on throughout the morning, and this ever thereafter became known as the Battle of Setauket. In fact, often of note, and what people can see here, is that 3 local boys, really teenagers, were at this site fighting. And they were Caleb Brewster, who everybody remembers from the TV show Turn. There was also Zachariah Green, and there was also Jonathan Dickerson. So those 3 local kids returned here on that August morning in an attempt to free this area from the loyalist, the opposition.
And just quickly, I don't want to assume, but have you done this before, and how are you holding up for today's event?
We have done this since the beginning. I don't know really how many years that we've celebrated Culper Spy Day, but we proudly partner and honored to join the Three Village Historic Society, which had the foresight and the ability to spearhead a day-long, and now it's really a weekend-long celebration of the Culper Spy Ring and the Culper Spy Network. So it's a lot of fun. It's a wonderful experience. And here at Patriots Rock, not only are we celebrating the Battle of Setauket, but we have a Settlecot Indian village up on the hill. The Settlecots were the original people of this area. And then we have a blacksmith demonstration, and we have an information center too. So we're trying to bridge all the gaps and make it so it's an enjoyable day for everybody.
So I just got off the tour bus. We're hitting all the stops, and now we are talking with
Helen Hart of Morning Star, and I'm the chairperson of the Settlecot Nation.
So let me ask you this. So we're here on Culper Spy Day, but obviously your history predates all that. What do you feel is important to you and the Setaukets to be part of this Culper Day? What do you hope to achieve or spread information?
I think I feel that it's a beautiful thing because the truth is coming out. And it's being explained, and a lot of the older people, like the Roosters, the Tylers, the Strongs, and the Melvilles, and Dr. Childs in Port Jefferson, and so forth and so on, the families of the indigenous people, they work for them. So my feeling and what I've had experiences, as I say, with dealing with slavery and things, I believe it was much different here in the North. I think we became extended families because, like, say if my son was going to be baptized or christened, I'd just go down and say, hey, Frank, my baby's being baptized or whatever, and they would come, and likewise with theirs. Mm-hmm. If somebody was getting married or something, we were treated just like we were the part of the family, and we even sat at the main tables.
Have you been doing this for a couple of years, this event?
No, I think this is my second or third time.
Okay.
But I've been working as a council person since I was about 18.
And so just as you talk to people, what do you find they're most interested in, or what catches their eye the most as you talk to them about the history, your history?
I think how we survived. As I was saying about the Chiefs meeting here, we actually lived around where the Melville Memorial Pond is down there on both sides. So, like I tell everybody, this will always be home, no matter where I go.
Okay, so we're sort of getting the vibe of the day, and you can give me your first name if you want. But
my name's Alex, and my daughter is Flora.
Hi, Flora. Hi, Alex. So have you been to this event before in the past?
No, I've always wanted to go, and it has always kind of coincided with other, like, back-to-school stuff, whatever. And this year, my kids were learning about the Revolutionary War and very interested, so I said, we have to make sure we save the date and we get there this year.
Did you know the Culper story, or have heard about it?
I did, yes. And yes, my daughter has read a couple of children's books about it, and we're very into local history and revolutionary history.
So I can ask either of you, what have you seen that you like so far? What's been the most fun thing?
I like the flag raising.
Okay, with George Washington, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so what part of the story, is there one part that fascinated you the most, or that was the most surprising to you?
It resonates with me in the current political climate. So I like to kind of make comparisons about what's going on today, or think about what we would have done in the positions that these people were in.
Sure, right. Would you have the courage to kind of...
Right, exactly, yes.
We're at the M.S. Clark stop of the tour, and we're talking with...
Lisa DeVerna.
Lisa, what can you tell us about what the library's contribution to this day is, Culper Spy Day?
Sure. Of course, we're the library, so we have all the information here. We have lots of books to check out, the Turn DVDs, of course. We are having historic 18th century tunes from 12 to 2 p.m. today. We have children's games, children's crafts. We have a display in our lobby by Bob Winowich. We have the Level Up Kitchen Library Cafe inside. It's a hot day today, so if anyone wants a drink or something to eat. And yeah, we're just talking to people about history and enjoying the beautiful day we have here.
So in terms of year-round, the type of reference questions you might get about the area, or does Culper Spy questions come in, not just on Culper Spy Day?
Oh, definitely. Everyone, especially with the show with Turn, people are interested from all over. It's not just Three Village residents. We get people from everywhere coming in and asking questions about how we helped turn the tide of the revolution. And we also have a website, spyring.emmaclark.org. And that website has resources and maps and lots of recommended reading. And you can check that out anytime. We also have an audio tour that you can also do anytime that's on that website.
What's your favorite fact or aspect of the Culper Spy story? Do you have one?
Oh, I don't know. That's a really tough question. I think one of my favorites is knowing about Anna Smith Strong. She's number 355 of the spies. And they're not sure if she was number 355. It's folklore. But it also could have been a bunch of women and how they contributed to the Culper Spy Ring.
Okay, so now we are off the tour bus. Can you tell us what encampment we're in here?
We are in the encampment of the 2nd Red Continental Light Dragoons, Sheldon's Horse, with a small contingent commanded by Benjamin Tallmadge.
And so where were they most active, would you say, during the Revolution?
They were most active in the northern parts of the campaign, New England, New York, New Jersey. They were the primary couriers between the Culper Ring as well as Washington, and they served as the general's lifeguard.
And just if you want to, I don't know if I got your name or whatever name you want to give.
Today I'm portraying Abraham Woodhull, also known as Samuel Culper, but my real name is William Heese.
You know, and it's funny because we ran into each other earlier, and now I'm realizing you're not dressed in military garb. This is sort of, would you say, what Woodhull would have been wearing day to day?
Not necessarily day to day. If he were conducting business, more than likely. He certainly wouldn't be wearing boots as fancy as these. Day to day, he'd be wearing clothing that he can get dirty. He might be wearing a pair of leather breeches like some of the troopers are wearing. Leather breeches are the blue jeans of the 18th century, so they're very common, very versatile, very hard-wearing.
So in terms of your experience here today, what are you seeing people react to? What are they most interested in as you come up to talk to them?
They're very interested to know what life was like as a spy, especially a spy living in occupied territory. They also are very interested in learning how soldiers and troopers functioned as a military unit, as well as life in the army.
Okay, I'll spin this way. So we're talking with Washington's Commando. I don't know if that's a term you've heard or accept. But...
I have. I saw a book on it.
Okay, and so do you want to introduce yourself officially?
My name is Major Benjamin Tallmadge. I am the head of the Culper Spy Ring. I'm the adjutant for Sheldon's Horse, 2nd Regiment of Light Dragoons.
And so in terms of your military career, what would you say are the highlights of combat?
So probably the highlight of my time is the raid on Fort St. George, which is on the south shore of Long Island in 1780. I take about 100 men in November gales across the Sound, land on the north shore about Mount Sinai area, march them a day's march overland to the south shore, burn Fort St. George, destroy all of the winter supplies, and make off with 50, 60 prisoners of war, get them back on the boat and leave, little to no casualties.
So do you feel Major Tallmadge should be more, or is he well recognized for his military prowess, or do you think he's sort of an undiscovered or unappreciated part of the revolutionary fighting force?
I think that Tallmadge is someone who is remembered mostly for his espionage, but that is not what his favorite part was. That is not what he was proud of, and nor is it what he did with most of his time. Most of his time was seeing to the everyday running of Sheldon's Horse, as Colonel Sheldon and Lieutenant Colonel Blagden were often off sitting on committees. Sheldon's father dies at one point, so he's given leave to go see to his family. He's brought up on trumped up court-martial charge and has to go answer for those. So Sheldon, for various reasons, is away from the unit a lot, which means that the actual running is left to Major Tallmadge, and he's 24 when he joins. He starts the Culper Ring at 25. He ends when he's 27. Like he has been. Everyone remembers him for his espionage, but he really should be recognized for his keeping of America's 1st Commissioned Cavalry going.
And just your experience today as you talk with people, what is it that they resonate with, or what are they most interested in hearing from? Do you notice any?
They are definitely interested in hearing, I think, a little bit of everything. I think a lot of people have seen the show Turn, especially here in Setauket. And I think a lot of people are interested in what's the real story, because obviously Turn is a wonderful show. It's phenomenally written. It's well acted. I loved it as a piece of media. As a historical source, it is horrendous. Down to just the clothes they're wearing, right? Something as basic as, are they wearing the right color this season? No. So I think a lot of people are looking to see what the real history is. Obviously, people have heard about the spy ring. They've heard about all this stuff, and they want to know a little bit more. And so obviously, there's a lot of people here who are talking about the spy ring and telling you all about it, but what I'm excited to do here is not only to discuss the spy ring, that's why I brought along my friend Abraham, but also why I'm excited to talk to them about the actual real job of Major Tallmadge, which was running a cavalry unit. And when I'm not playing him, I am the adjutant for Sheldon Source, as we still exist today.
Oh, that's great. And just quickly, as a personal experience today in full uniform, how are you holding up?
Oh, it's good. I order the men into summer uniforms. Okay, so this is a much lighter than we usually wear, and this breeze is wonderful. So we're doing fine. The question of, are you hot in that? The answer is yes, but we've done worse in more.
Name of this place that we're waiting to get into? This is the Brewster.
The Brewster House.
Okay, so we're waiting to get into the Brewster House, but we're talking with people on the tour, and right now we're talking with
Waylon.
Waylon, what brought you down to Long Island for this?
So I came last year too. I've watched the series Turn on Netflix 2 times, and I'm a big history person, and I was really interested in that subject. So I did more history and research and all that, and found out what it was all about. So then we came down here to Setauket just on a normal weekend to go to the museum.
Just a self-tour kind of?
Yeah. And then we found out about the Culper Spy Day, and this is my second time coming to this now.
What's your favorite part, or what's the most interesting thing to you?
I'd probably have to say the churches. Those are my favorite parts. And then this year the Brewster House, because I've never been in it before.
So do you think you'll be back next year?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, so a lot of time has passed, so I guess we can do this interview as friends, but you are wearing a red coat, so do you want to tell us what encampment or group you're here with?
Definitely. So I am Private Kyle Parker of the 23rd Royal Welsh Fusiliers. The Royal Welsh Fusiliers are one of the few distinguished regiments that has the honor of serving in every single major theater of the American Revolution, from Boston to New York to the Carolinas and the surrender at Yorktown. The only thing we didn't take part in was the campaign up in Saratoga. Okay. But we are a very well-distinguished regiment, and of course we're here 250 years later to, of course, show everyone the other side of the war.
What's something that you would want to share with people that don't know much about fighting at this time, or the regiment you were in, or the British forces itself, just a few facts?
Well, the thing is, the most interesting thing as a reenactor is you realize that, yes, the things we learned in high school usually tend to be highly abridged, and admittedly, a lot of the times we end up being taught quite a lot of myths, and that are perceived as fact. Sometimes, you'll even see things where teachers will say, oh, let's show the Patriot, and use that as historical fact, and every reenactor in the distance groans and winces. Because once you become a reenactor, well, you have to be a fan of pedantic ideas, because once you put a coat on, you're going to immediately start to learn all sorts of different things. Oh, well, this coat was uncomfortable, and that's why we have a different uniform later in the war, because they realized this wasn't ergonomic, this wasn't good for the Americas, so they lightened up, they changed this. So once you start reenacting, just by doing it alone, you start to realize that some of the things you taught actually weren't quite exactly what you were experiencing in reality.
Okay, so we are one of the further stops on the day, Drowned Meadow Cottage, and we're talking with...
Hey, it's Mark Sternberg again from the Drowned Meadow Cottage Museum.
You know, one thing driving over here, if you delete all the modern population and buildings, you can see how big an area this was and maybe how you could get by spying without maybe too many people noticing.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thing is when you actually look at some of the accounts of this area, people actually called this a frontier. It's hard to believe, but in the 1700s, yeah, Port Jeff, Setauket generally, Setauket, alias Brookhaven really was considered frontier country.
So we have a full interview we can steer people to. What would you say about this cottage and the Rowe family and how they fit into the whole Culper picture?
Yeah, I mean, we're still learning more about their role in the Culper Spy Ring. It's not an ended story, but yeah, we definitely are finding pieces of evidence and things they've done. The most notable is actually Nathaniel, Phillips Rowe's brother, actually saved Caleb Brewster from being captured when the Schuyler crashed on Cedar Beach, and so that was a big deal. But we're still trying to piece together exactly what their roles were, but we have a lot of evidence pointing to it, so we'll try and figure it out as time goes on.
And just as your experience today, what have people been reacting to? Is this story new to them, the Rowe family, when they come here, or?
Yeah, the Rowe family is new to them, and they're learning new things about the Culper Spy Ring too. You know, we're still correcting a lot of information. You know, where Anna and Selah Strong were located during the war, and it's cool to show them some new primary sources they may not have seen before. My favorite being our map of Setauket during 1778. You know, it's a very informative map, and you know, a lot of people just haven't never seen some of this stuff before.
And you're here with Chris Ryan and your staff. How's everybody holding up?
I'm holding up pretty well. It's pretty hot. That's the only concern I have. Other than that, it's really fun interacting with the people, educating them more on history of our local history.
We've been talking to a lot of the soldiers reenacting it, but now you're our first female reenactor. How does it feel wearing the period clothing you're wearing?
It's not too bad. It's not as bad as many people think, but you do get really hot and sweaty because you have a lot of layers on.
Mm-hmm.
Did you introduce yourself?
I did not. My name is Kaiser Cohn.
Before we leave Drown Meadow Cottage, we're also talking with
Chris Ryan, Port Jeff Village historian.
And we've been here before, so how would you say the cottage has been received? What's the last couple of years been like?
Very well. Of course, Mark's work has been monumental. And you know, he's really making a mark for himself, with no pun intended, you know, in the community. He's got new research. It's great.
Anything, so what's your experience of Culper Spy Day? What would you tell people that didn't come this year, but to get them out next year, what would you say?
Well, next year's the 250th, so it's going to be huge next year. And, you know, it's going to be bigger. We're going to have the whaleboat finished by next year, which, of course, is being built right now on the other side of the harbor. This is an armed whaleboat. It has a swivel gun on the front, and it will be housed here on the side of the cottage most of the time, but it will also be in the water, and you know, over to a fair and to a school or wherever we need to trailer it.
Okay, great. And how are you holding up?
Great.
It feels pretty good in here. You got air conditioning going. That's great. Well, have a great rest of the Culper Spy Day, and thanks for everything you do.
Thank you. Well, thanks for coming in.
I've been flitting around. All right, so we just got off the last tour bus with the tour guide of the day, speaking with
Margo Arceri of Tri-Spy Tours.
And Margo, you go back, do we say all the way to the beginning? How many Culper Spy Days have you done?
It was my idea, Culper Spy Day. After the first year of doing Tri-Spy Tours, I realized that so many of the buildings that I brought people to see were not open. So I said there has to be one day a year that we can really share our revolutionary story and everybody's piece of that story. And that's when we came up with Culper Spy Day. We're well over 30 organizations involved and an army of volunteers, and we're in our 11th year. And you know, each year it keeps growing and growing. I think this year we probably had over 1,500 people attend.
What did people find the most interesting, or is there anything you hear people mentioning overall? I didn't know this, or?
Well, I think the important thing is that we always have felt at the Historical Society that the community is our museum. And everywhere you turn, there's an artifact. Mm-hmm. And I think people who have never been to Setauket or have only been to certain places are realizing that. They are saying, oh, I didn't realize that was here. Oh, I didn't realize that was here. And really having the representatives from each one of these artifacts in the museum really makes the difference. I mean, you can only cover so much in a 2-hour tour in our exhibits at the Historical Society, that having representatives here, I think that people never realized how much history was in Setauket. And it's Setauket and beyond. I mean, Port Jefferson, Miller Place, Mount Sinai, Stony Brook, St. James, Smithtown. So it really extends really all across the island.
And you're a descendant of Anna Strong, right?
No, I actually
Or you knew? And
yeah, so I, as a 7-year-old, grew up next door to Anna Smith Strong's great-great-great-granddaughter, Kate Wheeler Strong. She was an historian. She lived till she was 98 years old, and she used to write for the Long Island Forum, the true tales of the early days on Long Island. And one of them was about Nancy and her magic clothesline. That's what most of the family referred to Anna as. So myself and a Strong descendant, Raymond Brewster Strong III, would go visit Cousin Kate. And she would tell us these stories. And really, hearing about a female spy and a magic clothesline, I was hooked at a young age and kind of took the story through life.
I don't know if you could say for sure, but what do you think Kate would have made of Culper Spy Day?
Oh, I think she would have loved it. I think Kate loved this community. And really, I love this community. And everyone here loves this community. So I think she'd be very, very proud to see where it's gone from her little true tale stories.
Well, this is my first Culper Spy Day. It's been great, so congratulations to you and everyone else. It's been a great time.
Thank you so much. It's wonderful having you here, and you're such a supporter of Long Island history with your project, so thank you.
Sure. That's a wrap. I have to say, if you haven't been to Culper Spy Day, you definitely want to experience it. And next year, being tied to the 250th anniversary of the Revolution, that's the perfect time to go. Go early. Parking is there, but it goes fast. There's plenty to see, so keep your eye open for the announcements next year. I'll be back. I hope to see you there. I want to say thank you for everyone I talked to during the day, past and future guests. A few quick notes before we wrap up. We'll have links to a lot of resources about the institutions involved in Culper Spy Day that will be listed in our show notes. That's at longislandhistoryproject.org. And just to let you know, I was recently a guest on the Beyond the Rotunda podcast, which is produced by Kevin Schultz out of the Farmingdale Public Library. We'll have a link to that too if you want to sit down for 40 minutes with the two of us and hear us talk about Long Island history, podcasting, and a whole host of other things. That does it for this episode. Our outro music is Capering by the Blue Dot Sessions, used under an Attribution 4.0 international license. And as always, thank you for listening.